The Major League Baseball non-waiver trade deadline slams shut Tuesday with a number of contending teams still trying to orchestrate last-minute deals. Throughout the last few decades, the trade deadline has helped transform the MLB season unlike any other major sport. High-profile moves in late July have helped countless teams in the postseason, while allowing other clubs to rebuild. Dan O'Dowd, general manager of the Rockies from 1999 to 2014 and current MLB Network analyst who will contribute to the outlet trade deadline programming, believes the structure of the leagues plays a part in the importance deadline day has for MLB. "I just think the collective bargaining agreements between the three sports, MLB, NBA and NFL, are so different," O'Dowd said in an exclusive interview with Omnisport. "It takes on such a unique difference in the MLB than other leagues. Historically, the trade deadline takes on more of a focal point in MLB, and it has not been that way in other leagues. NBA trades are all based upon matchups with salary impacts. Rarely do you see a ton of impact players being moved. Trading, in a general sense, in the NFL just isn't a major priority, mainly because the turnover rate is higher than the other sports." MLB's trade deadline is broken up into two parts: the non-waiver deadline and July 31 at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But players can then clear waivers in August and be moved before the August 31 waiver deadline. O'Dowd believes it doesn't take a major player to significantly impact a team during the final stretch. "Even if you improve your club just in small increments, you can make a dramatic difference the last 60 days of the season," O'Dowd said. "For example, if you acquire a bullpen piece that adds half a WAR, it's dramatic when trying to win over the last quarter of the season." In the NFL in particular, they don't have a trade deadline that dramatically changes the fortunes of a team the way the MLB does. "There aren't many sports where you can add what would be perceived as a complementary role player and have him change the fortunes of your season." Manny Machado was recently traded to the Dodgers this month for a group of prospects. The Orioles knew he was unlikely to re-sign with them next offseason when he hits free agency, so they cashed in on him before the deadline. While many teams were interested in Machado, the Dodgers had the most glaring hole to fill at shortstop following the Corey Seager injury earlier this season. If you look at the Machado trade, the closest comparison I can think of, if the Yoenis Cespedes deal from the Tigers to Mets in 2015, realizing Machado is a better player, O'Dowd said. "But the Tigers got Michael Fulmer and Yoenis Cespedes. That puts together the framework for the type of deal GMs are looking for. When you trade a guy like Machado this late in the process, you have to be realistic about the prospects you get back, because at the end of the day it's a 2-month rental." Two major trades could still happen before the window slams shut, and possibly more. The Rays finally seem open to dealing starting pitcher Chris Archer, with a number of hungry mouths waiting to feed if they do. The Nationals also seem poised to either nab catcher JT Realmuto from the Marlins or deal impending free agent Bryce Harper, depending on if they feel they have what it takes to contend and make the postseason. While O'Dowd believes the MLB trade deadline is among the busiest across the sports leagues, he said the tide is turning in regard to which players GMs are starting to prioritize. Prospects in particular. You could be a GM on a bad club right now, but if you have a high-ranked prospect, you're a rock star. Years ago that didn't exist. Prospects are viewed in our industry like they never have been before. Gleyber Torres was traded for Aroldis Chapman, but those types of deals make GMs even more nervous, because while they do want to win a World Series, sustained success ultimately is what ownership groups would rather have. They don't want years of downturn. GMs are constantly caught between trying to win now and maintaining a roster of sustained success. Fans and players grew annoyed with teams during the offseason because it appeared only a handful of teams chased the top targets. Jake Arrieta, Lance Lynn, Alex Cobb and J.D. Martinez all signed late, which left many wondering if the offseason was even important in MLB anymore. I would say, trade deadline is just as important as the offseason, O'Dowd said. The work you put into the offseason allows you on July 31st to have the chance to win. But the reality is that the potential trades you have the opportunity to make in the summer puts your club squarely in the hunt to win in October. While O'Dowd cautioned against shipping away top prospects, he also said teams on the cusp of postseason success should realize that their time could be now to make something happen. You don't know when your window is open, he said, and it's a false assumption in our game to believe your window stays open.